Hi everyone, my name is Joseph, and today I want to have a discussion about My Name is Earl. So, an NBC show that premiered September 20th, 2005, and ran for 4 seasons, I believe it was, until May 14th, 2009. And yes, it was 4 seasons. The main cast of this show was Jason Lee as Earl Hickey, Ethan Suplee as Earl's brother, Randy Hickey, Eddie Steeples as Darnell Turner, Jamie Presley as Joy Turner, Nadine Velasquez, as Catalina Arcua. I am Latino, but unfortunately, I can't pronounce some Latin words here and there. I have issues rolling my R's. Trey, I can't pronounce Trey's last name, Charles Lee, but he played Earl Jr. Louis T. Moy, who played Dodge. I'm gonna go ahead and stop right here, but this show had a great cast of multiple side characters who some are recurring, and they were a lot of fun to see them come back again with their stories. So my name is Earl. This is a show where right off from the get-go, I do have to let everyone know it ends on a cliffhanger. And if that's something that makes you feel a little bit detracted, you don't like to read or consume things that doesn't have a proper ending, then I would recommend just to go away from this video. Because again, this show does end with the cliffhanger. With that being said, though, the creator of My Name is Earl, and I should probably state who that is. Give me a quick second, everyone. Pardon me about that. It was created by Greg Garcia. He has been interviewed, and he has stated that if he was allowed to end the show, I'm just thinking about the ending and it gives me a little bit chills. But so spoilers, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about that right now. Because as always, I'd like to talk about the show and the movie, whatever it is that I'm discussing. So Greg Garcia stated that if the show were to end, so let me give a quick premise. So what this show is about, context, is Earl Hickey wins a lottery ticket. And he's always been a bad individual, an individual who does bad actions. And so he celebrates, runs into the street, and he gets hit by a car. And he feels like that's karma letting him know, well, now life is going to get you back. And he believes this because he watches a late night show while he's in the hospital by Carson. I believe it was by Carson Daly. And that's where he first hears about karma. And for Earl, he takes this karma theme quite seriously, and he makes the choice around the hospital to create a list of all the people that he's wronged, and he wants to correct those wrongs. And so that's what essentially what the show is about, this list, Earl, and him completing the list, utilizing the funds that he got from the lottery ticket and being assisted mostly by his brother and other members like his friends and family friends. This is a really fun show in my opinion. It does a great job of really mixing both rambunctious humor with heartfelt humor. Like for example, a really good example I do have is when the parents are introduced, the Hickey's parents, and they do a good job. It could have just been just as easy just to have the dad to forgive Earl like that very quickly, but rather it's a recurring theme and running gag. At the dad, he really cannot stand Earl at first, but then even when Earl is trying to prove that he's changed, the dad is just not having it because of past interactions and the history that he has with Earl. But as the show continues and there's more episodes with Earl, the dad starts warming up, lightening up towards Earl Hickey, and it's really awesome. The mom as well too, but of course the mother's love knows no limits. She is still upset with Earl, but she's a bit more forgiving compared to the dad. But I love the progress and growth that Earl's parents have towards towards Earl, and I think it's really awesome. I got my head in myself a little bit. So, how does the show end? The show ends with the cliffhanger. We're about to find out who is the dad of. Excuse me. So, the name is quite funny. We're about to find out who's the dad of Earl Jr. Because we thought it was Darnell Turner, Crabman, but it turns out it was not. And so Greg Garcia, he came out to reveal that had he been allowed to continue this, that it would have been revealed that Earl Jr.'s dad was some big name African American celebrity. I believe he did name one specifically, but I can't recall, unfortunately. But essentially, when he was in town, Joy being Joy, of course, she was acting as a groupie, and so she threw herself upon this guy, and that's where Dodge Jr. Sorry, that's where Earl Jr. comes from. So it's just a really funny gag because I'm laughing because I'm thinking about the show. This kid is called Earl Jr. because Earl thought it was his kid, but as it turns out, it was really what Earl thought was Darnell's kid, the Crabman's kid. But by the end of the show, we find out that it's not Darnell's kid as well. It's actually some random individual's kid. And it's comical because the whole reason why Joy tricked Earl into marrying her essentially because she was already pregnant with Dodge. And yeah, so it's just funny because these none of these kids are belonging to the individuals they're supposed to belong to, and it is a joke that Earl thought Earl Jr. was his, And throughout the show, Darnell, of course, believes that Earl Jr. is his, and as so does the audience because Darnell has his trademark afro, and we see that Earl Jr. like father, like son, right? So. So Greg Garcia revealed that it would have been a big name celebrity who was the real father. But I think the real part that's really awesome about Garcia's comment, his answer to how the show would have ended, is that he explains that Earl is working on his list. And how, if I remember correctly, something along these lines, he ends up actually coming upon a list number that he cannot complete. He can't finish it. And he becomes frustrated, he becomes upset, and he's about to give up. And in fact, he does choose to give up. He states to himself, I've done so much. This is something that's impossible to do. I cannot finish it. I'm done. And so, of course, he feels guilty for not finishing it. But as it turns out, someone approaches him and he taps Earl on the shoulder and he goes, excuse me, are you Earl Hickey? And he goes, yeah. I know you don't remember me, but I did this to you a long time ago. And Earl's like, whoa, what's going on? This is what I would be doing to people. He would approach them, Hickey, ask them, are you so-and-so? Well, yes, I am. Well, I'm Earl Hickey, and I did this to you so many time ago, right? This amount of time ago. So Earl asks this person, why are you doing this? And he goes, oh, I'm making a list. I have a list of the people that I've wronged and I'm trying to correct my life. And Earl asks him, where did you get this idea from? And it turns out this person got the idea from his friend, who got it from his friend, who got it from his friend. And Earl Hickey realizes that he's done enough good in the world, that all the bad that he's done is essentially he's inspired people. He's inspired other people who were maybe not as egregious as him, maybe not as quote unquote breaking anti-community as Earl. I'm trying to use soft words as Earl Hickey, but that doesn't matter. Earl Hickey helped inspire a whole group of people to do exactly what he did. And so Earl feels this is a sign that he's done. He is free from this list because he's going to continue living his life not having to rely on his list. He understands the importance of treating people well, of treating people with respect. Essentially that golden rule that most of us grew up listening, hearing from our parents or our grandparents, do unto others as you want to do unto others as they do unto you. I almost forgot the phrase. Anyways, but the show essentially, Greg Garcia states that Earl Hickey would have ripped up the list and thrown it into the air and walked away as that classic My Name is Earl song is playing. Oh wait, hold on. Pardon me, I'm getting it conflated. So, no, I read this on social media about how it would have ended, and someone posted or maybe it was Greg Garcia who said this. So probably it was either from Greg Garcia. Everything that I said up to this point was from Greg Garcia. But I can't recall if this part's from a fan who said they could totally imagine this or it's from Greg Garcia. But that Earl Hickey would have turned up his list, thrown it into the air with the theme song playing. And as he's walking off into the sunset, the song will stop. He will stop, quickly turn around, run back to where he dropped the pieces, pick up every individual piece, walk to a trash can, throw it away, and then continue walking into the sunset with the music playing. And again, I need to double check. I can't recall if Greg Garcia has stated that or a fan had included that. But either way, I really love how the theme of that ending, even if, again, that part where the list is not ripped up, the fact that people are approaching Earl and doing exactly what he's doing, again, that is from Greg Garcia. I just felt like what a great ending to a very fun show. A lot of people, so the cool thing about this show too is that it does change. Of course, Earl can't rely on his lottery money for all of life. And the show actually does address this. And there's a season where, excuse me, my nose is itchy because of my cat. And there's a whole season where, again, spoilers, where Earl is in prison. A lot of people didn't like that season, but I personally, I could recognize where it was getting weaker, but frankly, with everyone, I still was able to appreciate the season because of that theme of Earl, how he didn't want to give up about who he was. And when he goes to prison, he does try to give up who he was trying to become, but he makes a choice that no, he can't do that. I just really appreciated the show because it really does a great job of detailing accountability and responsibility and how it's never too late to turn one's life around, right? Oftentimes we have this idea that, oh, I'm this age now. It's too late for me to change. I've done this already. It's too late for me to do anything else, right? But sometimes when one really does want to accomplish something, when the will is there and the way is there as well, and we see through Earl that when that will is there, you also have the opportunity to inspire other people too. And in fact, we also get minor elements about this through Randy's character, about how Randy tries changing his life around as well. So yeah, so again, this show did end in the cliffhanger, unfortunately. But this is one of those shows. This is my second time watching it. The first time I watched it was a long time ago, probably more than a decade ago, and I really didn't remember elements about the show. And I decided to rewatch it. I finished it about a month ago, a month and a half ago, and I'm barely making this video. But I was upset with myself because I thought I did make a video for My Name Is Earl, and I found out that I didn't. I was like, what? And honestly, I don't know what prompted me to think about the show, but to be frank, even after finishing it, I do find myself thinking about it on my own. Because again, so much of these themes in this show, it really does resonate really well, and it makes it's a heartwarming show. And despite it being heartwarming, though, it's still a rambunctious show. I mean, I don't know why I keep saying my name is Earl. Earl is a redneck, right? So since he's and Joy is a redneck as well. Since both these characters are rednecks, that does imply that certain antics will come into play. But the show, Garcia did, and the writers did such a great job of navigating between like that kind of Three Stooges kind of humor and that heartfelt kind of humor. I would definitely be rewatching this show. It's definitely a show I have talked about with my family and friends, with friends and family. I say my family. I don't have any kids. When I say family, I mean like aunts, aunts, uncles, my mom and dad, and so cousins and so forth. But my friends and family, and yeah. So, would I recommend this show? Yes, I really would. And for those of you who do not like things that end things that don't end, that things that end in a cliffhanger, it's just to a show worth watching because the theme of the show always remains persistent, and at least we got a sort of conclusion, a pseudo conclusion to the explanation that Greg Garcia gives via his interview. And yeah, so thank you so much for watching, everyone. I do appreciate it. If you have seen My Name Is Earl, please let me know what's your opinion about the show. Were you like myself and a little bit disappointed when the show was canceled, or were you like one of those individuals who feel like the show had run its time? Thankfully, when I look up the show, there seems to be a common consensus that it is a quality show. It's just that the prison season really does seem to be the one that, and also the story arc where I do agree with this one. There's this really random story arc where Earl gets married for a bit, but then he ends up that relationship ends up dissolving. But even though that relationship does end up dissolving, from what I recall, I did enjoy how her story ended. Her story still ended in from what I recall, again, I might be wrong about this, but in a satisfactory way that's still tied into the whole karma and the list and everything like that. So yeah, again, would I recommend My Name Is Earl? Yes, I really would. It's a great sitcom, a sitcom that combines slapstick humor with heartfelt humor and does a great job of just making one feel lighthearted, warm-hearted at the end when the show is over, when a season is over. And of course, that theme song. Oh, really quickly, it may sound kind of silly, but while watching the show, and even after the show, I was kind of trying to be a better person as well. I'll be like driving, for example, and when I was young, I used to be a lot more community centered, but as I got older, unfortunately, I became jaded, so that community centered kind of went away. But when I was driving, while I was watching My Name Is Earl, and I still do this now, even though I finished the show. When someone wants to merge, I let them in now. I do my best to let them in. And I like literally the theme song My Name Is Earl starts playing. I'm like, I'm not gonna let you in. And the theme song, I can't really sing it, but if you heard it, you know what I'm trying to refer to. It starts playing in my head. I'm like, well, what would Earl do in this situation? He would acknowledge that, yeah, I'm trying to get to a location in a specific amount of time, but I have the time to spare. Let me just let this individual in, right? So little things like that. Or like if I saw my friend wearing a new item that looked really good on them, like, oh, that looks good, and I should probably tell them something. No, I don't feel like it, and that start playing in my head like, oh, you know what? Maybe they haven't heard a positive comment in a little while. Do unto others as they do unto you, right? So I'm going ahead and tell my friend, you know what, that new item looks great on you. So yeah, so again, I would recommend the show. Earl's character is really awesome. Greg Garcia did a good job of making this character to be loved by the audience and to even be a little bit inspirational, not just for the characters within the show, but even for the audience members like yourself and myself as well. So again, thank you so much for watching / listening, everyone. I really do appreciate it. Have a great day, everyone, and take care.